Domino was the hero I was most excited for coming into the next evolution, right? Her mechanics seemed fun, the whole luck thing seemed pretty cool, and I didn't think she would be too powerful. I thought she'd be pretty decently powerful, but I thought she'd be a lot of fun, and I like fun, right? Fun is the most important thing for me. And I will say this: I was right and I was wrong. She is probably the most fun I've had with this game since Scarlet Witch come out. Scarlet Witch is my absolute favorite hero. For those that don't know, as much as I love Valkyrie and Wasp and all of them, Scarlet Witch is my number one. I think the mechanics, and when she came out, they were mind blowing mechanics at the time, right? We'd never seen anything that kind of worked the way that Scarlet Witch had. Domino has the same exact feeling to her, right? I get so excited playing her. I just want to play her all the time. It's phenomenal the way that she works. So we're going to go through the cards a bit. We're going to talk about the cards and how I like them and what I liked and didn't like and all that fun stuff. And then I'll give my overall review at the end. All right, so here are her cards. We'll start with the first one, which is Domino, the hero. 1, 2, 3 stat line. 5 hand size, 9 hit points. When counting resources on cards discarded from the top of your deck, count each printed resource or wild resource, twice. And then action, you can choose a card in your hand, swap that card with the top of your deck. Okay, we'll get into that in a second, but we have to get into Nina's side as well. 3 cost or 3 recovery, 6 hand size. Choose a card in your hand, swap that card with the top card of your discard pile. Limit once per round. This right here, these two text boxes would choose a card in your hand, swap that card from the top of your deck, and then choose a card in your hand, swap that card with the top card of your discard pile. This little system right here, how you can basically manipulate luck, is amazing, right? This is one of the coolest things I think they've ever done. The reason being is because if you time everything right, and you have, we'll get into in a second, but she has a resource that's a triple resource called Jackpot. We can use Jackpot, right, to do whatever, right? Pay for a 3 cost ally like Professor X. X can give it to you. And then we can use Nina's side to get Jackpot back in her hand, flip up to Hero's side, put Jackpot on the top of our card. And then if we play something like the pistols or whatever, or the other card that boosts her stats, we know the top one is going to be a 3 cost or a 3 resource card. So we already know what it's going to do. This system of how you can manipulate cards around is some of the most fun I've ever had. And the reason being is because this is what takes a hero that I feel like at first I was like, okay, she's gonna be fun, but it's gonna be like very autopilot-y because you're just like, okay, no, we just want to make as many wild resources as humanly possible in her deck. Well, you don't need to because you can manipulate it with choosing a card in your hand, swapping with the top card of your deck. So it doesn't matter if there's a ton of them. As long as you have one in your hand, you just flip it with the one that's in your card or from your hand to your deck, and then you're getting a wild resource. That's crazy, right? The way that works is absolutely crazy and so much fun. And it actually makes this hero have more layers and depth to her, right? I actually have to think through the turn constantly. She's phenomenal, right? I can't say enough. This design is incredibly cool in the way that they did it. Is incredibly cool the way that they did it. As far as her stat line, you all know me. I play Justice the most. Protection works really well with her. Like perfect protection works really well with her. So I like that. Justice was fine. Aggression was really good. Leadership was okay. I'm not a big leadership player, so that might be more on me. But all aspects work well, mainly because her cards and some basic cards are what you care about the most. The aspect honestly isn't that important really. Now, there are certain allies I like to get out for, not certain allies, but I like to get allies out first. So depending on how the scenario is, depends on what kind of allies I want to get, right? If I'm working more on threat reduction, then maybe we'll go justice for justice allies, or aggression. If we need to do more damage, then we'll go that route. That was kind of some of the difference and maybe some of the supports upgrades. But as far as events go, I just want her cards. I want her cards. So Diamondback is Posse card, 2 cost, 1/1/2. Exhaust Diamondback, deal 1 damage to her, discard the top card of your deck, deal 1 damage to each enemy let me rephrase this. Deal 1 damage to each enemy for each resource icon discard as well. Not an enemy, not the enemies in your play area, each enemy on the table, right? Like that's crazy. In a multiplayer game, Diamondback is a massive card for people, especially again, if you time it out right, where you get Jackpot on top or just a wild resource on top and you're discarding it. So you're taking 1 damage for her and dealing 2 to everything on the table. That's crazy. Now, the hard part with her is that she only has 2 hit points. That's the worst part. So that's why leadership can be fun with her if you do like a team training exercise. But that's the only thing I would really note with this card is that it can be tough dealing with only 2 hit points. That part's a little rough, but you can work around it, right? You can work around and figure it out. There's other cards that allow you to heal and stuff like that too. So Outlaws, 3 cost ally, 1/1/3 stat line. Comes in with toughness, which is massive. When Outlaw attacks, discard the top card of your deck. Outlaw gets +1 for this attack for each resource icon discarded this way. Again, Jackpot on top makes it 4. She's swinging 4. Realistically, you're going to have a wild though. So she's swinging 3 times. Massive, right? And you get to block the first time around with toughness. Really, really strong. I like Outlaw a lot. Really helped me out. These two allies allow you to go from being focused on luck. Like for me, when I play, I focus a lot on luck in the beginning and posse later on because it takes a little bit longer to build up the posse. But it's great, right? The posse mechanic overall is fantastic in the way that it works. These posse cards are incredibly good. All right, so a good workout. 2 cost event, deal 4 damage to enemy. Discard the top card of your deck for each resource. For each resource icon, discard this way. Deal 1 additional damage. Now, the one fear I had is this wasn't like the big attack card, right? This wasn't the 3 for 9, but 2 for 6, and because it should usually be at least 6, is strong, right? It's good. So 2 for 6 is pretty good. I was able to get through this card a lot, especially with superpower, right? So Death Focus makes a lot of sense. So make sure you have that in play. But it's a good card, right? It's a very, very good card, good attack card, especially when you work the deck with how it should be. All right, Luck Be a Lady is 1 cost event, superpower card again. Discard the top card of your deck. Count the resources on it. For each resource, count this way. If it's energy, you heal 2 damage from a character, which is nice to help out Posse or yourself. Remove 2 threat from a scheme if it's mental, which is nice. Strength is deal 3 damage to enemy. If it's wild, you choose one of the above. But if it's wild, you count twice, so you get to do 2 of them, which is nice. And you could do 2 of the same, right? You could do 6 damage. So this could be a 1 for 6 attack card, which is kind of cool. If you get Jackpot, which is one of each resource that's not wild, you get to heal 2, remove 2 threat, and deal 3 damage. Great card. Really like it. Really strong. It was fun when it came out. I wish there was more of them, but it's a little bit strong, so that's probably why there isn't. But good card. Right place, right time. Remove 3 threat from a scheme. Discard the top card of your deck. For each resource icon, discard this way. Remove 1 additional threat. Again, should be a 2 for 5 for most of the time. Pretty strong. This is Jackpot. This card is bonkers. This card is absolutely bonkers. So, as one of each of the main resources, right? Energy, mental, and strength. Okay. After this card is discarded from the top of your deck, shuffle it back into your deck. There are so many times I've been able to work the deck where I will end up with about like 4 cards left in my draw pile, and I would be able, with those 4 cards, be able to draw this card like 3 times in a row, right? With just how it worked out. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good in the way that works. And there's only 1 in there. It feels like there's 3 of those in there. And if it gets to the point where it gets discarded, right, it's a good time to flip down to Alter Ego, get it back in. Absolutely. It's just such a good card. It's such a good card in the way that it works that you should be able to do. When we talk about a lot of these things were +2, really it should be +3 the majority of the time with the way it works. Jackpot, phenomenal card. Pip the Pug is interesting with Exhaust Pip the Pug. Put 1 Domino or Posse card from your discard pile on top of your deck. So again, if you're Alter Ego now, you can get Jackpot if it got buried for some reason back on the top of your deck, which is really nice, really strong. And then Posse, if you're doing the possibility, that helps out with that too. Painted Lady, people like this card. I still feel like I'm not doing everything I can with it. It's fine. It's nice when it worked out, but I couldn't get it working a ton. So after you discard a card from the top of your deck, attach that card face down here to a maximum of 3. Exhaust Painted Lady and add 1 card attached to your hand. The problem is I don't flip to Alter Ego as much as most people do. I think is the problem. And I did it a couple times to try to make use of Pip the Pug, which was fine. But I feel like with Painted Lady, I don't go to Alter Ego that much. So this is more on me and my play style of how I do things. So because I don't do that as much, I didn't get as much use of this card. It's a fine card, right? It's good in the way that it works. The mechanic is cool, but I just don't use it as much, I feel like, as most people would because of the way I play. Domino's Pistols, there's 2 of them. 2 cost upgrade, both restricted. Exhaust Domino's Pistols, choose an enemy and discard the top card of your deck. Deal 1 damage to the enemy for each resource icon discard this way. The nicest thing about this is that this attack gains range, right? And this is actually kind of huge. I wish sometimes it was piercing, but there's a lot of things, especially in this box, that have retaliate. She can get around that with range, right? You don't have to worry about that. So I wouldn't be attacking with Domino anymore. I'd just be using both of her pistols to attack, really. And if you play everything right, you should be mostly getting wild or jackpot or whatever. So it'd do 2 to 3 damage each time. We'll get into how these cards get buffed up even more. Because I know a lot of people are saying, oh, they're not that good without another card. Well, yeah, that might be true, but the other card is the card you should have all the time. So we'll get into that in a bit. But I like these. I like these cards. I think Domino's Pistols works pretty good. Lucky and good. 1 cost upgrade. When a boost card is turned face up during an attack against you, exhaust. Lucky and up good. Cancel the card's boost icons and boost ability. Give the attacking enemy another boost card for this attack. I was a little skeptical of this, and as I used it more and more, it is a pretty decent card, right? There's enough times that we get a 3 boost card that's like, well, how the next one can't be worse, right? Or you get boost ability that was just like really rough. You have to cancel it out. Okay, like most of the time it worked in my favor. It wasn't all the time, but most of the time it worked in my favor. Lucky Break, 0 cost upgrade, is also nice because you can just play it out there. When you reveal an encounter card, discard Lucky Break, cancel the effects of that card and discard it. Reveal another card for the encounter deck. Again, if you're getting like an advance or something or caught off guard or whatever, all right, if you got caught off guard, you just get rid of this card. But getting an advance or something like that when it's going to really kind of mess up your game and have you lose, it's really nice. Like this is a really strong card for that. This is not one that you just set it on the table and when something really bad happens, you have yourself covered, especially if it's a terrible encounter card. Goblin Glider comes to mind, right? If that card gets revealed, cancel it, move on to the next one. Really strong and good. Probability Field is probably one of the most insane cards I've ever seen in my life. When you play it's 2 cost upgrade. When you play a basic power, when you use a basic power, sorry, discard the top card of your deck. You get +1 to that power for this use for each resource icon discard as well. Again, when I was shuffling Jackpot in over and over, right, and now she's swinging for 5 or defending 6 or thwarting 4, it's really strong. It's really good. The big debate is Probability Field or Domino's Pistols better. Probability Field is probably the better card by itself. I think the Pistols, though, can be better, and we'll get into that in a second. But Probability Field, absolutely massive card. Really strong superpower card, too, as well. Now, again, I'm not going to talk about all of her cards and that stuff. We're not going to get into that. Atlas Bear, I just didn't use that much. But White Fox, very strong card, 3/1/1/3. After White Fox is discarded from the top of your deck, put her into play under your control. She's not a wild resource, so you don't get the double benefit. But I basically discard her, get the +1, stat boost or whatever, and then she goes into play, and I don't have to worry about the 3 costs. And then she can do another thwart or another attack, and then eventually use her as a blocker. That's massive. That's absolutely huge. I love this card. White Fox finds her way into the deck every single time. The Posse card's really strong too. 2 cost event. I think this will get nerfed at some point. Play only if you control at least 3 Posse characters, which can be Domino and 2 of the 3 allies we talked about with Posse trait. Heal 1 damage from each Posse character. Ready them all up. Really, really strong, especially if you're readying up Domino. You're readying up Domino and you're able to use Probability Field again because this card doesn't exhaust. That's really nice. It's a really strong card. Now, Atlas Bear, I know some people were using it. I didn't like it when I heard the announcement for it, and I still lukewarm on it. Like it's fine. It's nothing great. It's fine. It's not for me, I think. Digging Deep, massive card. Absolutely massive card. You could tell they wanted this to be in her deck. But after this card is discarded from the top of your deck, add it to your hand. That's crazy. That's crazy because basically, she's getting she can count the wild resource twice. So she's getting a +2 for whatever. And then I'm adding another card to my hand to use as a resource card. That's huge. That's a huge card. Digging Deep, you can have 3 of them in your deck right now. Absolutely massive. I love it. And then Sharpshooter. Sharpshooter is the card that makes the pistols not as good as Probability Field to better than Probability Field, in my opinion. So 2 cost upgrade, you only have 1. When you make a ranged attack, which is what the pistols do, right? They are a ranged attack. Discard the top card of your deck. This attack deals 1 additional damage for each resource icon discarded this way. Again, if you're doing wild resources, another 2. So if you do a wild resource and a wild resource with the pistol and then that, you're doing 4 damage. So you could do Domino's pistol, right? Do the first Domino's pistol, do the Sharpshooter, that's 4 damage. Then do other Domino's pistol, that's 2 more damage, so up to 6. And then you can do Sharpshooter again because Sharpshooter does not exhaust when it is used, right? It doesn't say that. It's just you count it. So that's right there, 2, 4, 6, 8 damage every single turn you should be able to do when you have both pistols and Sharpshooter out. I think that combo is better than Probability Field. But again, for the majority of the game, Probability Field is going to be stronger. But this, that's 8. That's almost guaranteed 8 damage. Now, what's really wild is the way that you play it is if you pull Jackpot on Domino's pistols, right? You pull Jackpot. You would actually shuffle Jackpot back in first and then resolve sharpshooter. So there is a shot, and this has happened, where I pull jackpot, deal 3 damage with a pistol, shuffle it back in, then trigger sharpshooter and pull jackpot again, doing 6 damage, shuffle it back in. Now, theoretically, you could have that happen again, doing 12 damage. You have to be really lucky for that to happen, but it can. Like, theoretically, it can happen. But you should be able to pull it like once or twice, which is bonkers strong, right? It's absolutely bonkers strong. So this card is pretty much a must-have for her. I mean, it's huge. Digging Deep is a must-have, I think. White Fox I like a lot. Posse I think is not a must-have, but you should probably have it in there. Player size games I like the basic ones for her. 1 or 2 of them doesn't really matter. And then Not My Lucky Day. Her Nemesis. Oh, wait, that's not the one we want. That's not the one we want. That's not the one we want. Where is it? There it is. Memories of Armageddon. Treat your identity's printed text box as if it were a blanket, except for traits, which isn't great. It's a little rough. Exhaust your identity on alter ego, and you get to discard this. Things you have to flip down and exhaust. It's not great, but it's not the worst thing in the world. But you do want to clear this pretty fast because you want those wilds to count as doubles. Now, her Nemesis is actually not terrible. Topaz is a 1-2-3 stat line. Search the encounter deck, discard palette, and set aside area for 1 copy of superpower feedback and attach it to your identity. Let's do that first. So test your identity. After you resolve an ability on your identity or identity specific type, identity specific card, take 1 damage. Alter ego action is to discard 1 identity specific card from your hand and discard this card. And there's 2 of them. That's the worst part, right? This is the worst part of this card, or this is the worst part of the Nemesis set, is because, you know, after you resolve an ability, which you should be doing all the time, you'll be taking damages constantly. So you do want to get rid of this as fast as possible. And you have to go to alter ego and then do it. Now, Prototype is a minion. It gets +1 hit point for each luck counter on him. When revealed, place luck counters on Prototype equal to the amount of damage your identity has sustained, which can be a lot. I generally don't have a lot of damage on Domino, it seems like. She's pretty good at getting around damage, so I don't worry about it too much. And then Not My Lucky Day. When revealed, each player must either take 1 damage or place 2 threat here. It's only got 3 threat, and it has the extra boost icon symbol. It's not a terrible card, right? Size game wise, it's not terrible. You should be able to clear that pretty fast. But yeah, those are the big cards for her that I wanted to talk about, and those are her cards. So let me give my final synopsis. So to me, Domino lives up to the hype of like the most fun hero, right? To me, she lives up to that hype. She's absolutely amazing, fantastic, love her to death. What I didn't expect is that she's an S tier hero, in my opinion. I think you can very easily make that case for solo play that she is S tier. She works very well in protection. She works very well in justice. She works well in aggression. She works well in leadership. Her cards are incredibly strong. As long as you're adding, not that as long as, but you should be adding, in my opinion, another Posse card, the Posse event. Digging Deep should absolutely be in there. Sharpshooter should absolutely be in there. Superpower Training and the other basic one, which I'll remember, Build Support. I put 1, maybe both of them in there if you're confident you can clear it out in like Justice or something like that. But I like to put at least 1 in there. She's bonkers good, right? Her deck is bonkers good in the way that she works. Her mechanics are really good. I mentioned in another review with Cable that he would probably be on Mount Rushmore, I thought would be, or in my preview at least, that he would be a Mount Rushmore material. I think Domino replaces it. I think Domino replaces Cable's prospects of being on there. I think she is top 5 strength wise. Personally, if I'm trying to be as objective as possible, most likely in the top 4, but it's a little tough. I have to go through them again and really think about it. But I think she has the chance for being up there for sure. She's just so strong. She's so incredibly strong, and just the more important thing is she's incredibly fun. Right? Yes, there's some extra thinking you have to do, and there's some extra stuff you have to do with, like, you know, manipulating cards and getting things in different spots. With like we talked about in the very beginning with swapping cards and whatever. But that's the fun part, right? That's the fun part. And then going through your deck and getting that luckiness to happen over and over and over is phenomenal. It's really, really cool. And it's just something I haven't been that excited for a hero in a long time. So Domino, some of the most fun I have. She's already a top 10 favorite hero for me for sure. She's probably top 5 at this point. I want to keep playing with her because I want to make sure she doesn't like stall out or get stale or whatever. But I think she's phenomenal. I think she's so cool. She's so great. So anyway, let me know down in the comments, right? Let me know down in the comments what you think about her, if you like her, how you like playing her, right? Because you can play kind of a more luck-based deck. You can play more focused on weapons, or you can play focus on the Posse. Like, there's a couple different ways to play her, which is really interesting. Let me know how you like playing her. If you want to watch me play her live on stream, make sure to go over to twitch.tv/D20 Woodworking, where I live stream there. A lot of times it's Marvel Champions, sometimes it's other games. And if you made this far in the video, make sure to hit the like button, hit subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I will see you all next time.